So next topic is getting input from keyboard. So here what we are going to learn is how we can write interactive Java application so that your application receives some input from the keyboard, whatever typed in by the user. There are two different ways that you can read some data or actually some input from the keyboard. One is actually from using the BufferedReader class, and the other one is GUI class called the JOption pane. Okay, so we're going to take a look at both of these, right? So BufferedReader is from the command line, and JOption pane is from graphical user interface. So let's take a look at the BufferedReader class. So BufferedReader class belongs to java.io package. We haven't learned the concept of package yet, but you can think of a package is a collection of classes. Okay, and so BufferedReader in java.io package is used to get input at the command line. Now, in order to use this class, you have to import this class. So in order to import this class, you can say import java.io.star. Star means everything under that package. Okay, so you can actually specify import java.io.BufferedReader if you want to import just that class. Okay, but if you want to import everything on the java.io package, then you're going to use star. Okay, like this. And then you're going to add this statement. So here, again, we haven't learned how to create an object instance yet. Okay, so don't worry about the syntax for now. So here, you are going to use a new and BufferedReader, and then new input stream reader. Okay, so these are all related Java IO stream. Okay, and then the newly created object instance will be set into a variable called data in, and this is the name of the data type. Okay. Again, this syntax might be a little bit too daunting for the first timers, so don't worry about it. This is the way that you are creating BufferedReader. That's all I want you to remember. Okay. All right. So once you create a BufferedReader object instance, and then we can actually use that object instance of data in, and we can call a method of this BufferedReader class. Read line. So when you run this read line, it's going to read a line from the command line, and then whatever user typed in will be captured as temp string variable. If there is some error, then this will be caught by what is called the try and catch exception handler. Okay. So again, in this slide, we have a lot of things. Okay, which we have not learned yet. Okay. So, but all I want you to remember is we are basically creating BufferedReader object, and then we are calling readLine method of the BufferedReader object to read the line. That's all I want you to remember. Okay. All right. So this is the complete application. So here we have a main method, and inside a main method we create a BufferedReader object, and then again we are using readLine method of that BufferedReader object. Okay. Yeah. So the indentation is so this try is supposed to be, this indentation is incorrect a little bit, so my apology. Okay. All right, so if you actually study this program, basically we are using BufferedReader, the class. So again, these are the things that we're going to learn a bit in detail. Well, we're going to actually learn in detail later on when we learn Java IO stream. Okay. So for now, this is the way that we are importing the Java IO packages. So here, this is specifying individual classes for importing, but instead of these 3 lines, you can say Java IO.star. That means any classes under this package, Java.io package, will be imported. And so Java provides hundreds of predefined classes that you can use in your program. So those are, in fact, structured in a form of packages. So again, we're going to learn the concept of package in a bit more detail later on. So you can think of package as a collection of classes, and these collection of classes are somewhat related. Okay, so when you say java.io package, that means all the classes that are related to IO, they are actually under java.io package. Okay, so now, this is the name of the class. So the name of the class is get input from keyboard. Okay, and then we have a main method. And then we are going to have BufferedReader object, and then we have a variable whose type is a BufferedReader. Okay, and we basically create a BufferedReader object instance and assign it. Okay, and here what it means is that we are reading things from system.in stream that's actually input device. Okay, all right. Again, these are we are going to actually learn these things later on in detail, so don't worry about it if you don't understand what I'm talking about with system.in or input stream reader, so those things. Okay, for now, again, what I want you to remember is that we are basically using buffered reader object to read things from input device. Okay, yeah. All right, and then we are basically assigning the name. We have a name variable whose value is set to the empty string. Empty string is different from null. So if you don't specify this, then it's going to be set as a null. Here we are actually specifying the initial value is going to be empty string. Okay, and system.print is basically printing this string. And then we have a try and catch. So here we basically read a line by calling readLine method or BufferedReader object. Okay, and then we assign to a name variable. Okay, so now once this line is executed, name variable here is going to actually wait for the user to type something. Okay, so until user typed in, this line will not be finished. When user types something and press enter key, and then this line will be finished, and whatever things that has been typed in by the user will be assigned to a name variable. Okay, and then so this is basically the code. Okay, and then we just display it. All right, so exercise 1, I'm gonna just explain exercise 1, then we'll have the lunch. Okay, so exercise 1 is so you want to open, and in my case they all reside here, and is input key. Okay, so Java as input key, so that is the documentation. So I'm going to explain. Yeah, so basically, we are writing new Java application. Okay, and adding this code again, we dissected this code to the level that let us actually go forward. And then when you run it, you're going to actually see here. So you're going to actually type your name and press enter, and then you're going to see output will be displayed. Okay, sanction. Yeah, so this is what you typed in, press enter, and then this is what gets displayed. Okay, and then you're going to actually modify this code. Okay, here you're going to ask a user to enter his or her age. Okay, and this is pretty much the same code. Okay, and then when you run the application, you're going to type your name so that you can see your name displayed, and then next it will ask you to enter your age, and then it's going to display your age. Okay. I'm going to actually explain 1.2 as well, so that you guys can actually do it. Actually, yeah. So why don't you actually have lunchtime break, because some people actually plan that way. Okay. All right. So let me just. Okay. So we were about to get into step 1.2. So in step 1.2, we want to change the program so that we want to check whether entered value is over 100 or not. So depending on whether the entered age is over 100, then we want to display hello saying you are old. If the age is under 100, then we want to display hello saying you are young. Okay, So what needs to be done is that when we receive 100 from a user, we have to convert that value, which is a string type, to integer type. So what you get back from the user is actually string type. So even if user type 100, it is actually being received as a string type. So when we perform some comparison, whether value is over 100 or not, we need to convert it into integer type. Okay. So if you take a look at integer class has what is called parseInt method. Okay. So if you click this one, it is actually Java API for the Java API. So we can take a look at integer class. Again, don't worry about the concept of class for now, okay? So we're going to actually cover all those things later on in detail. Let's go to integer class, and it has the parseInt method. So I go all the way down here. I'm looking for integer. Oh, missed that one. Oh, should be before J, right? Okay. So integer. Yeah, here you go. So if you click integer class, you can actually see it has a bunch of the fields and constructors and method. And one of the method is to convert the string to integer type. Okay, so that is parseInt. So this is the one. Okay, so if you click the parseInt, you can see more detailed information about it. And basically, you can use a parseInt method to convert the string value to int primitive type. Okay, so that is parseInt. So we just look into that the parseInt static method. Again, don't worry about the static method versus instance method. We're going to actually learn those things in detail. Just know that there is a method called the parseInt. Okay, so that we can use it. Okay, so we have done that. So what we need to do is when we receive the string, okay, we need to call this parseInt method of integer class. So this is a static method, and static method can be called from the class itself. Again, don't worry about the syntax of it. We'll learn those things in detail. So here, basically, we are using this code to convert string value that we have received to int primitive type. Then we can compare that primitive type is greater than 100 or not. And then we are going to display you are old and you are young based on whether this is true or false. Okay? And then when you run the application, depending on what you typed in, it will say you are young or you are the old. So let's actually try to run that application. So I'm actually running the application that is provided. So here I'm going to just type in my name, Sang Shin, and then enter your age. If I enter age 300, then it will say you are old. Okay? And if I run it again and give the age 30, then it will say you are young. Okay. Now, if I run this application, so I give first name, then if I give it's asking me to enter age, enter my age. But if I give non-number, like a character, like whatever, like this, then it's going to be an exception. Okay. So it's a number format exception. Okay. So parseInt, when it actually tried to convert a character to number, it can't do that. So that's the reason it actually threw an exception. Again, we're going to actually learn, all these exception things in detail. So don't worry about if you don't understand what happens at the moment. Okay. So build and run the application. The next step is to see context-sensitive Java documentation. So you can actually go to this website on the web to see the Java documentation as we have done, so this link, okay, docs.oracle, Java SC7, docs API. But, when we actually go to their website, I have to actually search things, right? So that's a little bit inconvenient. So Java, the IDEs, the Eclipse as well as NetBeans, they all provide the context-sensitive Java docking, meaning if I want to find out the information on a particular class like integer, all you have to do is select it and right-click it, and then in this case, show Java doc. Then we are going to see the Java documentation. Okay, so let me. Yeah, so here you go. Java documentation is being displayed. What is this? It looks like, let me just close this guy. Let me just try again. Show Java doc. Oh yeah, this is probably it. Let me just close all this. Okay, here you go. Yeah, so let me just try one more time. Okay, so yeah, it's just opening the everything that I used to open. Okay, so again, this is okay. So let me try something else like a system. Okay, so I click system, and if I try to see the Java documentation of the system, then it should display the Java documentation of the system. So this is a context-sensitive Java docking from your IDE. Okay, so that's basically what I showed you in exercise the 1.3. Okay, so that's basically what I showed you. Okay. All right, exercise 2. Now we are going to use a GUI version of getting something from the user. So instead of using the keyboard, we are going to actually get something from the GUI. So that is the class called JOptionPane. This is one of the classes that is provided by JDK. Okay, so the code is like this. Basically you are going to call show input dialog. Okay, and the method of JOptionPane class. And then, whatever you want to actually print this out. So let's actually run that application, see what happens. So here, JOptionPane project. So this is, please enter your name. So I actually provide my name here. And okay. All right, then it will display hello Sang-Shin. Okay. So if you take a look at the code, okay, so it's basically calling show input dialog. And this is the message you want to display. And then it captures whenever user typed in, that will be captured as the in this case name variable. Then you are basically create a message, and then you display it using show message dialog. Okay, so that's basically what happens. Okay, guys, I'm gonna give you just 10 minutes to finish these exercises, and then we are gonna move on to the next topic. Okay, so let's